Hello. Hello. Good morning. Okay. All right. It's good now. I'm sorry for that because I was sitting in another room and the Wi-Fi doesn't work well there. So, all right. So today we will cover the last two chapters. Chapter number 12 and 11. I I make the chapter 12 first because um, I want to talk about the information systems management later. Okay. So last time we already talked about the BI in chapter 9 and information security in chapter 10, and we also did some quiz regarding the information system security in BI. So today I would like to resend some questions so you guys have opportunity to improve your work. Okay. So class, please get ready, and I will be sending the first question for chapter 10. All right, and then I will send the second question for chapter 10. So those two questions are for chapter 10. Now we have two more questions for chapter 9, the BI. Okay. So you need to submit your work now and then get ready for the new question. Alright, and then get ready for the next question for chapter 9. Okay, so that's it for the chapter 10 and chapter 9. And now we move forward to the chapter 12, talking about the information system development. And after that, we talk about how to manage and use the information system. So in this chapter, we mention on the job you usually do when you manage information system, including the information systems development and maintenance. And besides, we also talk about some way we have the information system developed using outsourcing, and learn more about the benefit and the risk we may have when doing outsourcing with information systems. Okay. So this chapter also have two sessions. The first one will be some introduction, and then the second one will about the outsourcing. And we do have questions for the two sessions, the first one and the second one. All right. So the problem we so far we learned about the information systems, and we understand how it can help with the business activities, and we can say that information system these days should be a must, right, for business. And then now the next step, we discuss more about how to have information systems installed or set up in the organization, and how different organization and or business can have this system set at different scale, right? So you see here we, for example, for many organizations, big ones, setting up the information system is not a problem. It's not a problem at all because of the budget. So they can like hire some other parties, or they can make like set up a team, IT team for making that job. But for some small one, for some small business or some startup, setting up an information systems is really a big problem, right? Because they don't have time, or they cannot support with a lot of money in order to have the system set. So they always asking the question is how long they need to spend their time to have the system set up, or how much money they need to invest into the system. Okay, so because of that question, in this chapter when we talk about the information systems management and implementation, we discuss about different approaches for setting up the system, and then we come up to a very popular one, the Scrum approach, that can help to set up the system at a different scale to have the business to save time and cost in order to have the system run in the business. Okay, so from the what we have introduced so far, we here to answer the question. The first one is how about the some thing about the business process and the relationships among the business processes and information systems, and how to manage the business processes, and how that impact the view of the information system in the business, and also regarding the build or the development of the information systems, what are the popular approaches. Okay, here we will discuss about the two common approaches. The first one is the system development life cycle, SDLCs. The SDLC, and the second one is Scrum, another improvement version of the SDLCs. And then finally we talk about the job, the information system development in the future, like in 2027. Okay. So first of all, talking about the business processes and the relationship to the information systems in the business. So we know that the business process is a sequence of the activity, right? Business activities in order to complete a given job or task. For example, here we have a business process for the customer to order an item from the store, right? To buy something from the store. So the process will go to many different steps or activities. The first one should be checking the customer, right? Connect with the customer. Either they stop by the store, or they come, they use online system. The first one will be like connect to the customer. So in the business process, the first step is connect, okay, to the customer, and then can prepare some quotation, right? Some pricing plan, okay, some deals. So in order to do this, the system may like checking the customer to make sure to understand whether the customer is the new one or a return customer. So to do that, from the information system support, we can use the CRM, right? Because to check the customer, we base on the system that manages the customer, so which is CRM. So after checking and knowing about the customer, we go to the next step. Now we check the request. Okay, so the customer request for some item, so we need to check whether the item is still in the store, right? So we check if the item is still available or out of stock. Okay, so in order to do this checking, we use the inventory information system. So the second information systems we use here is a system about the inventory. Okay, so it will tell us whether a given item is still in the stock or not, right? And after checking this, the stock, that means that we have the item available, and then we go next. So now the item ready, we only need to check whether the customer have enough money or they have enough they have cash or they have enough money in their account, right? So that will then use another system, right? The system can be like the credit systems. So that will be the customer credit system in order to check if we can sell the thing to this customer, okay? And assuming that's okay for the customer to get item, and then we go next, right? The next step will be like placing the order and then doing the shipping for the customer in case they order online, or help them in case they come to the store and to pick up. So a sequence of the activities in a business process may use many different information systems, right? The first one maybe the CRM, the second one maybe the inventory, and so on until the last one, the shipping information system. Okay, so by the time we do the shipping information system, that means we're done with the order, right? But it's not finished yet, because the customer may not happy with the item, and they may return, right? They may return the item to the store. So in such a case, the shipping information system will be responsible for handling that, right? So if a customer gets some item and then when they go home, they try to use it, they found it's not very helpful, or somehow they are not happy with that, with the item, and then they go to the system. Now they need to talk with the shipping information system, and then they say, I want to return it, right? So the information system will help them with return item. For example, the information system will print out the shipping label, right, and send to the customer using the shipping company, maybe a third-party one, and then the guys from the company will stop by the customer address and giving the shipping label and pick up the item to return to the store, right? So in some company like Amazon, whenever they ship out an item, they use a lot of services from the third party, okay, from other companies to make the shipping process faster. And so here, this gives the picture here give us an idea about the relationship among the business process and then the information system, right? So remember that each business process may have a relationship with maybe many information systems, right? But sometimes some business process have no support information system. So in such a case, we say that business process have no information system at all. So in summary, we say given a business process, it may have relationship to zero or to many information systems, right? And then if there are some information system related to the business process, that means those information systems should support some activities, one or many, right, activity in the business process. Okay, so here is an example of the quantity of the relationship. Okay, so from the business side, each business process may have zero or many information system, okay, many information systems to support. And in vice versa, we see that each information system may have one or many business processes to support. So that means whenever we have an information system set up in the business, the system should support at least one business process, or maybe many. No information system supports zero business process. Remember that, okay? No information system supports zero business process, because that means if you have some information system that supports zero business process, that means you make a wait, right? You waste your money to set it up, okay? So that is the relationship among the business process and information system. And again, remember, each business process may have zero or many information system to support. Each information system should support at least one business process or many business processes. Okay. So that's talking a lot, telling us a lot about the characteristics of the business process and the information system and how they are related to each other, right? And remember, in each information system, we do have one or many software programs, right? So the information system is in fact a set of computer programs. This we learned before, right, in the chapter 1. So in order to have an information system in a business, that means you have to install many software applications, right? And the relationship among the application and the information system like this: each application, software application, will support one or many information systems, and each information system may have one or many software applications, right? So that's another relationship among the information system and the application. Okay. All right. So that's first thing we learn about the those stuff. The first one is the business process. The second one is the information system, and the third one is the application, right? The software application. So when we do job with them, we need to manage them, right? Like as a business manager or the business people, they use the information system or anything related to that. They need to manage them. So what kind of the manage they should do? First of all, they need to manage the business process, okay? Second of all, they need to manage the information system, and third of all, they need to manage the software application. So in order to manage the business process, people use the business process manager tools, okay? So business process manager simply to deal with the managing of the business processes, okay? Besides, we can use Scrum. So remember, Scrum first time from computer science, but it's so helpful that in the from the business side, or they also use use the Scrum, okay? Scrum. So okay, so next. So sorry, if you have some problem with your internet connection and you were unable to do the quiz or see in the quiz question, no problem, because I will be sending out more every meeting. So maybe late today or the next meeting, I will be sending out the question for the order, the former chapters. Okay, so don't worry about that. And finally, at the end of this meeting, I will tell you about how we rate the we get the grade from the quiz work. Okay, so you only need 12 quiz in total. So every chapter like a quiz So you have 4 questions, right? So you only need to do correctly 2, and you have 100% completed, right? And then for 12 chapter, we have 12 number like that. And then besides, we also have some questions from presentation as well. So we have like more 3, 4, 5, 6, but in total we just picked out 12 best results. Right. So now back to the management here. For the business process, remember we can use the business process management, or we can use the Scrum. For the information system, we can use the SDLC. So remember SDLC, that means the software development life cycle, okay, life cycle. Or maybe use Scrum, okay. For software application, we use SDLC or Scrum, okay. So this tool or approach can help us with all the way managing the thing, including the setting them up and then manage them, right? Maintain them in order to support the business activities, okay? And then we will talk about them later, one by one. So now in the business, we know that we have business processes, we do have the information systems and the software application from the information systems. So we then talk about who will be responsible, or who will be the guy to manage those things, right? So first of all, we talk about the business analyst. Okay, these guys will be responsible for the business processes. Okay, everything, including the design of the business process, the like running the business process and managing it. Okay, so checking it after running, and then revise the business process in case we need to improve them. Okay, so all of these jobs will be done by the business process business analysts. Okay, so these are people, okay, to be responsible for that. So these people are from the business side. Okay, so they may be the business student or a business manager, and then they understand how to run the business. So therefore they understand about the business processes, and they also know how to improve them, right? Because they have experience with the running business. So in case they find something like we are not helpful really or at all, and then they will modify the process. Like last time we learned about this, right? Business owner need to improve the business process in order to serve the customer better and to save the cost, to save the time, for example. So beside the business analyst, we have some people working with the business analyst in order to design and handle the information systems. So those guys are system analysts. Okay, so remember that here systems analyst. So the analyst working on the system problem. Okay, so remember here we have systems S here, right? So this is a job, okay, systems analyst, a professional to be responsible for analyzing systematic stuff, okay, systematic stuff. And this guy will be responsible with transforming the business process into the information system, okay, or related the business process, relating business process to the information systems, okay. And beside those two group of people, the business analysts and systems analysts, we have the software developer, so or system developer. So those guys will be responsible for the application development. So they build the application, software application for the information systems. Okay, they are maybe the programmer, they are maybe the database designer, they are maybe the tester, or they may be the specialist is hardware or technology, and they may be also the guy who designed the system, so they may maybe system analyst. Okay, so this guy from the second group, like we talked before. All right, so we have three groups of people in order to manage the business processes, business information systems, and software application in the business. Right. So here I don't think I need to talk about a business process again, right? Because we learned about this a long time ago in the chapter 5 when we're talking about the business process and business strategy, right? So that defines how the business doing the job or the task, the activities, and then we always ask to improve. We always asking for improving the business processes in order to improve the business activities, right? And here I just want to remind that in order to improve the business process, we can do like restructure the process, right? That's the first way, or sometimes we call that the re-engineering. Okay. And the second way we can do is to revise the business process resources. Okay, resources here maybe the people, the information source, okay, or some third-party services. So if we reduce the number of the resources for a given process, we can save the cost, right? For example, we reduce the number of agents at a checkout land, and then that means we reduce the salary, right? The cost we pay for their salary. Or we reduce the service from the third party, that means we reduce the money we pay, right? We reduce the amount of money we pay. So this process is just a thing that we always keep modifying or improving it. Okay. So in the business process, we do see here just remember here the role or the activity, the resource. Okay, so here I just talk about the resource. So the resources is simply some people taking in the process, or the services. Okay, either the computer application or the service from the third party take part in the process. Okay, and talking about the services from the third party, I can take an example of online payment, right? So if some customer come to your business website and placing an order, and then at the end of the process, you need to ask your customer to pay, right? And because the customer are doing the job online, so we also ask the customer to pay online. And most of the business will use a third-party service, right? Third-party services like PayPal or Momo, right? Or in Vietnam, I don't know, maybe some kind of online payment. But in the US, we usually use PayPal, Stripe, or maybe we use credit card online also, right? Because for third parties. So business, in case you want to ask the customer to pay using the credit card, you better let a third party doing that, right? Because if you have some third party doing that, so you are not responsible to handle the security for the customer credit card, right? So that's the third party services we may use in the business process. And next, the flows or the structure of the process. So we know that the process is a sequence of the activity, right? One after another. So that's the flow, and we need the flow in order to define how the business process run, okay, and how people come to contribute. So this is the three things. The first one is the activities. The second one will be the thing we use, we use, and the third one will be the sequence or the flow of the activity. Okay. Alright, so here is improve the process. I do not need to talk about this, right? Because we already learned about this before. We always need to improve the business process. So how to do it? We do it by modify the structure, right? We do it by reduce the resource. And why should we do it? We only have to do that because the emerging technology, right? And also the way the customer asks. Okay, remember, customer always asking, and they ask more. So if you don't change and you don't meet the new requirement, right? So sometimes they ask a little, and then the day today or the next day they ask more, and you need to change change. So that's mean you need to improve the business process that only. Okay. So here is some example of the business process. It's very basic one. Okay, product line, supply chain, company policy. All right, a lot of things here. Okay. So how to manage the business process? In the business, we have the method of managing the business process. This follow some policies step by step like this. First of all, we design the process, right? Second of all, we implement the process, and then we run and assess the process, right, to make sure it meets the business strategy or business plan. And then maybe we revise it. Okay, we evaluate it, we revise it, and then we back to create or setting the business process again, and so on. So the way we manage the business process look like we do in other problems. So we define the problem, we create the solution, implement the solution, run in the solution, and then check to make sure that the solution work with the given problem, and so on, right? We keep doing that. So in business process management, we do the same way. And then we say this is a cycle because they never stop in this. You keep back and forth doing the same thing, but the next time doing that, you do it better, okay, always. So that's how we do business. So in fact, we do business like we repeat the same thing, but the next time we do better than the previous one, right? So that's the way. If you don't do that way, that means you fail. Because if you stay still or you do nothing new, so that means you will get out of the market. Okay, so we learned this lesson from Blockbuster. The first time we talked about the information system and why business need to use it, and we understand that if we do not make any change or improvement, and then we will be like Blockbuster, bankruptcy sometimes. So in order to model the process in the business, we usually using the flow chart. In the flow chart, we have some symbol like this, right? The start one, the end one, the activity, the decision one, and then the report or the output or the data one, like this. So those are the symbols using in the flow chart. They are describing something in the business process. So here is an example. You can say that here given the order process. Okay, so for example, the customer orders some item, so we have an order process. So the order will go step by step through many different departments. Maybe like we see in the previous one. So it go through the customer relationship management department. It may go through the stock department or inventory department. It may go through the finance department, right, or accounting and finance department, or finally it will go through the shipping department. Okay, so go through many different departments, and for each department there's maybe some activity take place. Okay, so here is an example. And yeah, I'm sure that if you learn a course about the project management, you will learn how to do the flow chart here. But in this class, I just need you guys have know that we have some way to describe the business process, but I don't ask you guys to go deep into that because it's like taking much time and then practicing something that's really not important to this class. So just here is just a look, and then you have some you learn something about this. Okay, so similarly we have another process. Here is the customer credit checking process. Okay, so we want to check the customer credit, and we need to follow some step by step like this, making a process. And remember, in this process, sometimes we jump out of the business. Okay, it's not because it's just because there's some activity we need the support from the third party. Okay, so from outside. Okay, checking the credit. So for example, when you run a small business, you don't handle the customer credit card, right? We do not handle the customer credit card, but we then ask the third party, maybe the bank, where issue the, or we may asking the Visa or the Master organizations or agency in order to check the credit card for us. So we use the third party services. So that's about the business process, and how can we manage them, how can we model them using the flow chart, right? And we also learn about the business process and the information system, how the information system support the business process. And given a business process, we may have many information systems, right, to support. So that is the first section of the chapter. Okay, so now we will do some quiz to review the thing we just learned so from the beginning. Okay, so get ready. So this talking about some position in the economy. So remember, when we do application development, that means we do information system development. And you can check and make sure you choose the right one. Okay. For example, database designer is part of the information system development. So this is the first question, and then we will be working on the second one, and we'll be changing the second one in seconds. So if you're done with your job, submit it and get ready. Now go. This very lucky for you guys to have the same question twice. So it looks like you're done with the chapter, even though we have the second session coming next. Okay. All right. So now we're back to the presentation. Keep going on with. so easy. So now we talk about the information system development. Okay, we already done with the business process, and now we talk about um, information system development. So here we are concerned about how to have the information systems set up in the business, right, in a company or organization, and we may look more into that process, the setup process, to see what will happen. So as a business manager or the people working in the business, we need to know, and we also know where we can contribute from the business side, because the process also needs people from the computer science side and information systems as well, right? So here is the process of information system development. Okay, the process will go step by step, and by the end of the process we need to repeat it, because like business process, the process of information system development also need to repeat in order to improve, okay, to adapt with the change, the change in the business. Okay, so the process will start with the problem identification. Okay, so this is the first step. We define the problem, or we define the system based on the business need, right? So we check the business here. So here some other guys we call the business analyst will analyzing the business situation, and then define the need of the business depending on the business strategy, the plan of activities, and after that we have a list of the need, right, a list of the requirements, and based on the requirements, and the first step of the SDLC here, the process here, SDLCs, will define the system. Okay, so we call this the definition, problem definition. Okay, when we define something we have to do, so that means we do problem definition. So based on the problem definition, we go next to analyze it. So now we know the problem, we know the requirement, we then analyze it in order to build the solution. Okay, in order to build the best solution for that. So before building the solution, we need to get deep into the problem. So problem analysis is a way to do that. So we determine the requirement, what should be done, what should be done, and what should not, or we may scale them, put the most important in prior before the less important thing, and we have planned to do the thing. Okay, so the second one, this step is to do the information system analysis. And then after we're done with this step, we send on the result to the next step. So the next step will design the solution. Okay, so based on what we know about problem in various perspectives, views, all right, and then now we can design the solution or design the system. So the third step here is the system design. Okay, design. So we define the component, we define the part in that, and we define how the component work, and then the way it interact with the other components in the system. Okay, so remember here we have to use the system thinking approach. Okay, I'm sure you guys know about that. We talked about the system thinking before. Okay? So you need to figure out how many components to be, and then how they interact together. And then after we have the design solution, or we have the solution system, and then we go next to implement the system. Okay, implement here simply like coding okay, making the database, making the software application. So from this step, most people are programmer, database designer, database manager, or some other information system analyst working here. And when done with this step, we have the information system to run. Okay, and when we have the information system to run, we also need to test it before use, because we need to make sure it's work properly, correctly. Okay, don't put the business into risk. So after we have the system, we also test, and then done with that, we use it. And by the time we use it, we also run the system maintenance. Okay, so maintenance system here means we use system and also making sure everything happens in the right way. Okay, if we find something or some problem, we need to report to the department who will be responsible for that, and then we may like revise it and redefine the system. So that means we go back here. Okay, and then again we do all the steps like this, and then we're done, and then we maintain the system, and we may go back here. We always go to go back here, system definition, because even though we don't have any problem with the current system, but because the market changed, right? The customer needs change, and then we need to revise the system, or somehow the technology changed. Okay, so we also need to revise, to modify the system to make it adapt with the new requirements, right? So SDLC just look like this. It's very clear, right? Looking at this flow chart, you can see, oh, it's very clear, and like people from computer science always use it. Okay, the only problem with SDLC is it takes too much time to come to the results. Okay, come to the end of the process. So that means by the time you start with the process, you may wait for a long time, because here people do step by step. Each step like definition of the problem or system, analyzing the system, design the system, and implementing the system may take time. Okay, may take a lot of time, like months, sometimes years. So until you have the result system here at the end, you may spend a lot, like months, right, to have it. So that's the problem. That's somehow not a problem with a big company, right? Like some company like Google, Amazon, they spend time, they pay for a group of people working on that, because they're a big company, they have many jobs to do, and then by the time the develop team working, they still have money from the existing system, right? But this will be a problem for staff, right? Because when I do stuff, okay, I cannot wait like 2 years later to see how I get what I get. Okay, so it's hard, and then I need another approach, not this one. Okay, so remember SDLC long time ago is very popular, was very popular, but now it's not, and then we replace it by another approach. Okay, so here we just talk more about the SDLC by step, but I am sure I already talked about this before, so here I just go fast through these slides. So this the definitions step, system definition. Okay, after we have the definition of the problem, we go next to analyzing the problem. So this is the system analysis. So in the system analysis phase or step, we simply like go deep into the system to make sure we understand everything. Okay, make clear every requirement. And after we're done with the system analysis, we now make sure we now sure, all right, we are now sure with everything about the system, and then we try to define the solution or design the system. So the third step should be the system design. Okay, we design the solution or the structure of the system. And after we're done with designing how the designing system, and then we go next to implementing the system. Okay, so implementation here including all the things regarding the system setup, also include the software development. Right? So here the DLC step, and like I just talked previously about the limitation of the SDLC, which is the time, right? We have to spend a lot of time, and so in order to use the approach, the SDLC approach, the organization or the company should choose the right way to do it, to use it. Okay, so now if the company wants to set up the information system using SDLC, it should know in advance that the SDLC approach may take time. Okay, so in order to use it, the company may choose one of the following way. Okay, we have 4 ways to do it, or approaches to do it. First one is we use the pilot approach. That means the company already have a system, right? An information system. Keep using it. And then if the company wants to develop a new one, just use the pilot approach. So in this approach, we then make a copy of the existing system, right? And then we improve it, or revise it, or modify it with the new one. Okay. So using the first approach, the pilot one, you have 2 systems. Okay, one in use and the other in development. Okay. The second approach is we phase. So we know that the SDLC go through different phases, right? Different phases. So we can do the first phase first, and then we still do working with the other phase using the old one, on the existing system. And then to the second phase, we then go back to use the first phase with the new one, and so on, right? So we phase the process of the system development by step. So in such approach, we don't have to separate it. We don't have two separated information systems. We have only one, and then the new one will come phase by phase. Okay. The third one is the parallel one. This is a combination of the first and the second one. Okay, we make a copy of the system, but phase by phase. Okay, so by the time we need to revise or modify or improve the second phase in the information system development, we can make a copy of that, and we apply the pilot one. Right, pilot one, they will have to improve, checking or testing, whatever. So these 3 approaches are popular, used, okay, when we set up the new information system for the company or the business. Okay, and then we always do it. The last one we not use it. Okay, so we do not need to talk about this. This is not an approach. It's just talking about risk. Okay, so for the system development and modification or improvement or conversion to a new one, we may use either of the first 3 approaches here. Okay? Either of the first 3 approaches here, right? And depend on the situation, right? On the business situation or current state of the art of the information system, we can choose the one that best fit for the business. Alright, so regarding the SDLC approach or methods, we have a deeper look, okay, to the development process. We know that in the information system, we in a given information systems, we have 5 components. Okay? So when we do every step in the SDLC, absolutely we have to do that with all the components. Right? For example, at the design step, we need to design everything regarding the hardware, software, data, procedure, and the people. People here is the user or the service that the process the system should offers, right? Should support. And then in the implementation, we also care about how to implement the setup, right? The hardware, the software, or the database, or the document, right? Implementation here maybe the document or the training process, or maybe the recruit. We make we need some more people, right? To come, more employees to come. So recruitment may come here. And then finally, we have the people to train with the new information system. Okay, so designing, implementation of the information system always take place in every component of the system. Every component here, that means all the components, hardware, software, data, procedure, and people. Okay, so that was all about the SDLC. And remember, after done with the SDLC process, we have the system, right? We have system adopted. So now we use the system, but like I said, in addition to using the system, we also need to maintenance, right? Maintain the system in order to make sure it works properly, and also make sure it adapts with the new requirement, right? So system maintenance will be responsible for that. And in case we find something new or some new requirement, and then we need to revise the system, right, by redefine the system or redefine the problem. And after we have the new system definition, and then we go next to analyze it, and then we repeat the SDLC again, right? So that's the way we do with the information system development and management. Okay, so after we have the SDLC, beside of the system maintenance, we also need to do the system evaluation. Okay, your boss and the manager always asking us to make a report about the how useful the system is, right? So we need to make a report on the successful usage, or how the system is successful with the help of the business. So we do have many KPI for that. We have the list of the English, okay, that can help to determine the success of a given system analysis. Okay, so that is all about the SDLC, and like I said, SDLC is very easy to follow, but it's the disadvantage of using SDLC is that it may require a lot of time, right? So we need some other approach for that. So here I do not need to let you guys go deep into this because it's from computer science and information systems, okay, when they do the system. So for you guys, business students, you just need to know the method, the approach, like that, okay. And then we understand that the approach has some limitation, like asking a lot of time to be done. So now we need to look for another approach for SDLC that can help us better, right? So here we have some alternative for the SDLC with software development. So instead of using the SDLC, we may use Scrum. Right? Scrum. So this is a new approach, okay, for software development and also for business process management, like we see in the previous slide. So this approach doesn't look like the SDLC by waiting one to be done after another. The Scrum approach will carry out every step at the same time. Each will be done at some reasonable scale. Right? So instead of waiting for the first step to be done completely, the Scrum will just waiting for the first step to be done like 80%, 20%, 40%. Okay. So once done, but at that scale, it goes to next step, and then at the next step, it doesn't require to have the step to be finished 100%, but just like 60% or 30% or somehow, and then go to the next step. So using this way, you can see that, right? We will be able to pass on the steps somehow at the same time, and then we can reach the final step with a very short time, right? A very small amount of time. And then when we're done with the last step, that doesn't mean that we have the project to be done 100%, right? That's just somehow percent, like 20 or 30%. And then by that time, we can go back to the first step, right, to do the rest, and then so on to the other step to do the rest. And remember, it's not required us to have the step to be done 100% again. It's just like reach somehow like 80% or 90%, and then we reach the final, right? And then we go back to repeat that in order to completely finish. Okay, so that's the Scrum. So Scrum is just a version of the SDLC. Okay, so but it's better because it can like scale the job, right? Doing the job at somehow acceptable to be useful for the business, right? Okay, so that's why the business will not will not wait too long, right? To have the final result to use, to have the final system to use. They just like waiting somehow, and then have some reasonable system to use, and then they can use it to make the benefit first, and then waiting for the other result, another system come soon, and then until they have the final one. So Scrum is better, okay, and then Scrum is good because it helps the business more flexible. Okay, so somehow we can say this a ISO, right? ISO approach, okay, to support the business agility. Okay, and so the business now more flexible, right? They can do the system but super fast to meet some requirement first, okay, and then do the again to meet some other requirement. And remember, in case the business have new requirements, it can respond super fast, right? It does look like the SDLC like take months or year to respond. With the Scrum, business can respond to the new requirements super fast, okay, coming and solving right away. Alright, so that's somehow about the principle of the Scrum, or now we name it the ISO approach, okay, ISO approach for the software and also for the business process management as well. Okay, and thanks to the ISO, the Scrum bring, and the business now can do the business agility, right? So that's the reason. Okay, so here's some examples, some very key things come from the Scrum approach. Okay, so you can see this, and then yeah, but I think I already revealed about the Scrum, how different it is compared with the SDLC, so you can read it. Alright, So here is an example of the Scrum process. Right? It looks like the same thing, okay, step by step, but do the thing at somehow sensible. Okay. All right. So using the Scrum, you can see that we repeat the process, right? Many times at many different scale, right? By the first time we go through on the step with 20% completeness, for example, and the next time we go through on the process and on the step with like 50% completeness, right? And so on. So the question is, when will we done? It's very easy. We done when we adapt everything, right? So we done when the system can resolve every requirement, right? Meet every requirement, or we done when the customer completely feel happy, okay? Or we done when the CEO say yes, okay? Because the CEO say now the business strategy plan go through well, right? And then say okay, so that's it. So Scrum better than the SDLC in that way, because we revise, okay? SDLC sometimes have a limitation because like we do it, we take 10 months to have it finished, and when we done, and then the CEO say, no, that's what I expect 10 months ago, but now I expect more, and then you bum, right? You need to redo it again. So that's how the Scrum show better performance, better health with compared with the SDLC. Okay. I just still remember that when I was an undergraduate student, I do a project for the COPMAT. You know COPMAT, right? In Vietnam, you guys know COPMAT. And then I developed the accounting system for them. I do using the SDLC. Okay. So after I spent like 4 months for my final undergraduate project, and then I go back. They say that's okay, but now I need more. Okay, they need more. They say no problem with your job because you done, but it doesn't completely meet my current requirements. So because after 4 months they change, right? They change, and then when we come back, they need more. Right? So that's the bad thing for us. After doing the job and done, and then we learn that it's somehow obsolete. Okay, so that's the reason we refresh Scrum over the SDLC. Okay, so some other thing regarding the technique and something go deep into the Scrum, and hopefully you guys may have a chance to learn more about Scrum in business process management, okay, or project management. For some people from the business side, a student from business side will should learn that course. Okay, so here we have some idea about the management of the business process, business processes, business information systems, and information system software application, okay, and how we manage them when using them, and the way we manage them. We can use different approaches, and among the two popular ones, the SDLC and the Scrum, we refer the Scrum one because the later is look like somehow better, right? Making the business more agile, right? Okay. So what happened in the future? In the future, we use more emerging technologies, including the AI, machine learning, deep learning, and Internet of Things. Also, natural language processing and image recognition, right? And also we no more using the in-house computing systems, right? We move to cloud. So by that time we may like turn the business information system into a set of the service. Okay, we do not need to develop the system from the crash, from the beginning, right? We may employ the service available out there in the form of web service or in the form of the service oriented architecture. Okay, architecture of the service. So all of these available out there. For example, Amazon Cloud, right? Amazon Cloud Computing, they make a lot of tools available out there. So now if we want to develop a new information system, we simply like reuse their services. Okay, so that will be the future. And then by that way, we will have the system set up super fast. Okay? We do not need to wait because thing ready, use it. Okay, so that means great faster. That's the future. All right, so that's about the development of the information system together with the management, and then we also talk about the managing of the business processes and information system software application. Okay. Alright, so that's done with the chapter, and we already reviewed everything, and we ready with the answering of the given question, including about the development of information system, managing the business process, and what makes the Scrum better than FDLC, and that's why the Scrum is very popular these days, not only in the computer science but also in business process management. Okay. In the future, we only reveal with the use of the new technology and cloud computing, making the information system somehow more complicated, right? Because we use AI, we use machine learning, we use Internet of Things, the system will be more complicated. But also, the system can be done faster because the use of the existing web services, right? The use of the service in the system-oriented architecture, service-oriented architecture. Okay, so that is all about the information system development. So now we will. I also did review. All right. So now we will try to do some quiz for the second session of the chapter. So now is the first question of the second session. Okay. And then the second question for chapter 12. Okay, and now I will resend a question for the first session. The same question, right? So you are too lucky today. Okay. All right. So now we're done with the question for the chapter 12. We will talk about the chapter 11 after break. And by the way, I want to update some the personal information of some of you guys, because I checked and then I found some students didn't enter or input the information. So now I will send out a form to collect your personal information. So only students with the information system needs will have the form. If you don't see the form, that means your information on files complete. Okay, so So you need to input your student ID. Okay, that's very important because you may log into the system using many different email, but the student ID will have to link on the account you use in the final results. So I need you to input the info on the student ID. So under Institute ID, you need to enter student ID, and followed by Institute name. You just enter IBC in uppercase, then 03. For the other information, you can enter whatever you want, but better to do your full name correctly. Right, then we don't have break now. We will resume at 9:10 a.m. right, we're back. Okay, so now we go to the last chapter. So in this chapter, we talk about the management of information systems. Okay, so we will discuss about the issues of using the information system and how to manage it. Managing the information system, including the information system development. So we already talked about the development of the information system, and now from the management or business side, we will discuss about the problem with the information system development. Okay. So here's some questions regarding the a REST company. They try to outsourcing their system to people to in the India. Okay, and they face the benefits, but they also face some problems. Therefore, in this chapter, we will also talk about the outsourcing, the benefit and the risk. Okay, so the presentation, the chapter will help us to focusing on how to use and manage the information system in the business, and also regarding the use of the information system and the development. We talk about the outsourcing, and also regarding the usage, some issue with the user rights and responsibilities, and finally we talk about the future, right? And what happened in the future when we like 2027, where we do have some emerging technology and internet things, cloud computing. Okay. So in order to manage the information system, we need to set up a department. Okay. So in the business, in the companies, we do have some department like accounting, finance department, human resource department, or sales and marketing department, right? Manufacturing and customer relationship department, for example. And now we do need to have another department. So the department may be a division or department of information technology or information systems. That depends. Okay, so this department will be responsible with the everything regarding the use of information systems in the business. So they will help with setting up the system, maintain the systems, as well as training people in the company to use the system properly. And also regarding the information system security, they will be responsible for that. And in case we need to modify, to revise, or to improve the information system, and this department will be responsible too. So in the company, the department will be under the management of the CIO, right? Chief Information Officer, and then he will be added by the two guys, the CTO, okay, the Chief Technology Officer, and the Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. Okay, so under this guy, under the management of this guy, right, we have the support of the two guys from technology. The first one is the CTO, and the second one is the CISO, who will be responsible for the information security or information system security. Okay, and beside we have many other divisions regarding the development of the software, and also handle the software in case we do outsourcing. Okay, and the division of the database management or database administration. Okay, so CIO is the ones like to be responsible for everything regarding the information technology in the business. Okay, and then he will work with the CEO, right? In case the business needs to run some plan, some project for information technology. So because of the number of the managers, you can say manager at different level regarding the usage of the information system in the organization, we therefore see many open jobs, open positions for IT in the business. Okay, so first of all, we do know about the business analyst, right? Analyst, the guy who will be responsible with analyzing, designing the business process, right, and also help the business information system development. Okay. The second position will be the systems analyst. Okay. This guy simply like analyze the requirement from the business process, and then design the information system support. Okay, and then this guy will help with the business with the information system development in the business. And by the end, by the implementation of the information system, we do need the programmer. So programmer or developer is the guys who will coding the system software, right? So information system may require one or many software applications. So programmer will be responsible for that. And when we have the software products, we also need some guy to test it. So QA tester will be the guys who test the software, making sure that the software meet the requirement of the business, or also and also make sure that the software works properly, no mistake or no error or bug, for example. So each position here requires some knowledge, right? Because those are professionals, so they should be have some expertise in their domain, right? And besides, we also need some other position to support the information system usage or management in the business. The technical writer, this guy simply like can help with the during the document to help people with using the business information systems. And also tech support engineer. Engineer will be like have every day, right? Daily activity in the business whenever they do have problem with the information system or IT, and then this guy will support. Network administrator, simply responsible for everything regarding the network. So the network connect the components in the information systems, or maybe on the tool, software, utilities used in the business. Okay. Consultant and then IT consultant, for example, some guy that can help with everything regarding the use of IT and IS in the business. Okay. They will be responsible for a range of activities, a large range of activities, including programming, testing, database design administration, communication and network, project management, security and risk management, social media and strategic planning as well. So consulting and IT professionals will have all of these, and then sure they do have the knowledge about the business, running the business, right? Business activity and management, and also they do have the knowledge about the IT as well. And a number of other jobs, right? Project manager, IT manager, database administrator. They together to help with the use of the information in technology, in the information technology in the business. Okay, a lot of number. And remember, we have three managers. The first one is the CTO, right? CTO and the CISO. Those two, CTO and the CISO, those two guys working in the IT department, and to have the CIO, right? CIO, the guy who will, the one who will be responsible for information technology and information system in the business. Okay. All right. It looks like you have some problem. Okay, what happened here? Let me check. Okay.